Welcome into today's edition of Just the Truth. Glad to have you join me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. On day 10 of the New York Trump hush money trial, photos were circulated of what appeared to be Donald Trump sitting in the courtroom falling asleep. The president has an explanation of what he was actually doing. I'll share that with you in just a moment. Joe Biden calls Japan xenophobic for not accepting many immigrants. He compares our ally to China, Russia, and his comments did not go over too well with Japanese officials. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs signed legislation yesterday repealing the state's 1864 abortion ban one day after it passed the GOP-controlled state Senate by a couple of Republican senators changing their vote to vote with Democrats. South Carolina lawmakers took a major step towards becoming the 25th state to ban gender transition health care for minors after the state Senate approved a House bill to do so. We have the details on that for you as well. Hope you'll join today's conversation. 864-477-5639 is the Firmin Ford text line. You can leave a voice message. Emails are welcome at joey@joeyhudson.com.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
On day 10 of the New York Trump hush money trial, as it's being called by the media, photos had been circulated of what appeared to be Donald Trump sitting in the courtroom, nodding off, falling asleep. His eyes were closed. Now, the former president had an explanation, and he posted on his social media platform, Truth Social, that despite reports of the fake news media that he fell asleep in court, he was simply closing his, quote, beautiful blue eyes briefly, he said. Trump stated in the post, contrary to the fake news media, I don't fall asleep during the crooked DA's witch hunt, especially not today. I simply close my beautiful blue eyes sometimes, listen intensely, and take it all in, he said. The trial of New York versus Trump resumed yesterday. After a short break, Keith Davidson, attorney for the adult film actress Stormy Daniels, took the witness stand again for the cross-examination from the Trump defense attorney. Before Davidson took the stand, again, defense attorney Susan Nicheles asked for a stack of articles that Trump wished to post on Truth Social to be reviewed for gag order violations because they discussed the case. She asked for the review to avoid any ambiguity. Manhattan attorney Matthew Colangelo said that he needed to review the articles, adding that he understands there is a political campaign, but there's also a criminal trial, he said. But Judge Juan Merchan said he would not give an advance ruling on the article, saying that there is no ambiguity in the gag order. He told the defense team that if there's doubt, to steer clear. When Nicheles tried to bring up another point, Merchant cut her off, saying, I'm not going to argue with you on this. The ex-lawyer of adult film actress Stormy Daniels testified yesterday that he thought Donald Trump was, quote, going to lose the 2016 presidential election, and he pressed Trump's ex-lawyer Michael Cohen to settle the payment before losing what he called leverage. During the final rounds of questioning to Daniels' lawyer, Keith Davidson, he admitted he spoke to Cohen, pressing him to settle the $130,000 payment to Daniels to quiet her claims of an alleged extramarital affair that she allegedly had with Trump in 2006. This, of course, was brought up prior to the 2016 election. He said Trump will lose, and subsequently his client would lose her leverage. Trump, of course, has denied having the affair. That phone call was described as intense at times and full of expletives. Trump's defense team is hoping to connect that call with Davidson's alleged pattern of squeezing people for money during vulnerable times. Trump spoke to reporters yesterday after exiting the Manhattan courtroom. Again, day 10 of the criminal trial in the case of New York versus Trump. The 2024 GOP presumptive nominee said that he was very happy with how things were going in the courtroom, despite calling the trial ridiculous and election interference at the highest level.
We're down at the trial now. getting ready to spend another day in the courthouse, which is bogus trial that every leading authority on law says should never have been brought, that Alvin Bragg didn't want to bring it until the election happened and then he brought it. You just do know that this case could have been brought 8 years ago. Could have been brought 8 years ago. Instead, they wait and wait and wait. They know it's not a good case, and now it's turned out to be they've lost they have no case. They have no case. But we have a very conflicted judge, unfortunately, and so you never know. But other than that, there's no case, and it should have never been brought. But if it was going to be brought, it should have been brought 8 years ago. You know, we're talking about 2015, 2016. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And they wait till I announce, and then they start their action, and then they wait till prime time, Super Tuesday. It all started Super Tuesday, the biggest day, which we won every single thing. I mean, Super Tuesday was a big day for me, but that's when it all really came into being. And who starts a case right smack in the middle of somebody's elections? It should be illegal because it's election interference.
And if this were Joe Biden, the mainstream media would be agreeing with it, that it is election interference. If this were a Republican DA trying to keep Joe Biden off of the campaign trail, you bet that they would be calling it election interference. President Trump continued to express his frustrations with Judge Juan Merchan. He said that he's totally conflicted after holding another hearing earlier this morning on 4 additional gag order violations. Trump said that he would appeal the gag order, which he said prevents him from testifying in his case. Trump said he has me under an unconstitutional gag order. Nobody's ever had that before, and we don't like it, and it's not fair. Other people are allowed to do whatever they want to us, and I'm not allowed, as the Republican Party nominee and the one who's leading Biden by a lot, I'm not allowed to talk, Trump said. So I'm not allowed to testify because of an unconstitutional gag order. We're appealing the gag order, and let's see what happens. The trial resumes later today, 9:30 this morning to be exact. Joe Biden called Japan xenophobic for not accepting many immigrants. He compared our ally to China and Russia, and his comments did not go over too well with Japanese officials. More on that in just a moment. First, let me talk with you about PhD weight loss and nutrition. Portions of today's show made possible by this great program. If you want to lose weight, if you want to get healthy, PhD weight loss and nutrition is the program for you. And this is May, as we head into spring here and the early summer. If you want to lose those excess pounds as we get into summer, you're going to want to be at the lake, you're going to want to be hiking and at the park and doing various things that we can do in the summer months outdoors, then you need to call right now and set up your first consultation. And in just a matter of weeks, you can be talking about losing 10, 20, 30 pounds or more. That number is 864-252-4925, 864-252-4925. Call today and set up your consultation and let them explain to you how PhD weight loss and nutrition is different from any type of diet, health program that you've ever been a part of. Almost 4 years ago now, I was introduced to Dr. Ashley Lucas with PhD weight loss and nutrition. She founded this wonderful program. It's all based on the science of nutrition, what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat. And I lost 30 pounds relatively quickly. And I've been able to keep it off for almost 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in July. If you're listening today, and maybe you've heard me talking about this before, and you're on the fence, let me just say one thing. PhD works. It just works. It will change your life. It's changed many lives. This is one of the most satisfying partnerships that I have ever had in the years that I have done radio and this podcast, because they get results. They change people's lives. For me to be able to listen to a listener who has lost 135 pounds, that's big. To talk to people who have literally gotten healthy, been able to do things that they weren't able to do for many, many years, that is very special. And I love talking about my journey, my personal journey with PhD weight loss and nutrition. They'll change your life too. Call today, 864-252-4925. Find them online at myphdweightloss.com. PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, the official partner of the Clemson Tigers. President Joe Biden called the allied nation of Japan xenophobic. This was in a speech this week alongside of a slew of other nations he claims are suffering from lack of immigration. Biden made the remarks extolling the virtues and benefits of immigration. This was at a fundraiser on Wednesday in Washington, D.C. Here's what he said, and this is a quote. "This election is about freedom, America, and democracy. That's why I badly need you. You know, one of the reasons why our economy is growing is because of you and many others. Why? Because we welcome immigrants," he said. Why is China stalling so badly economically? Why is Japan having trouble? Why is Russia? Why is India? Because they're xenophobic, he said. So he lumped one of our allies in with Russia, in with China, all because they have borders and they have strict borders. Try walking across the border in China or Japan or Russia and see what happens. Japan and India are considered important allies of the U.S., of course, while China and Russia are seen as our rivals. We have strained international relationships with these two countries. We're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine because Russia is trying to take over, has invaded their country, trying to take their country. Biden suggested that these countries' lower levels of immigration compared to the U.S. are what is causing their respective economic concerns. He said they don't want immigrants. Immigrants are what makes us strong. Not a joke. That's not hyperbole, he said, because we have an influx of workers who want to be here and want to contribute. Several Japanese lawmakers reacted to Biden's comments. They posted on social media expressing confusion or skepticism towards the president's attitude. Mizuho Yumamura, I have a hard time pronouncing Japanese names. Yumamura, a member of the conservative Nippon Ishin no Kai party who holds a seat in the House of Councilors, said migration is a problem that European leaders are struggling with too. There aren't any countries that have solved this problem as of now. She said, I hope that President Biden will solve the problem in New York before he says things like this. Depending on the presidential election, she said, there could be a 180-degree change in policy, and there is no need for Japan to follow suit. Fellow House of Councilor member and leader of the right-wing populist Sensai Party, Sohei Kamiya, was more direct, writing that the U.S. failures caused by immigration contribute to Japan's hesitance to embrace similar practices. Kamiya said, it's not that we're xenophobic. We're being cautious after seeing your failures. You're meddling too much in our internal affairs. And she's right. Joe Biden should have never said that. National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communication, John Kirby, defended Biden's remarks in a press gaggle yesterday.
Look, I think the broader point the president was making, and I think people all around the world recognize this, that the United States is a nation of immigrants, and it's in our DNA. We're better for it. We're stronger for it. And we're not going to walk away from it. And that's the broader point that he was making.
When asked why the president singled out two ally nations to make the point, Kirby demurred and emphasized that Biden was intending to praise the U.S., not denigrate Japan or India. Kirby said, again, making a broader point about this country or our country, our allies know very well how much the president respects them, values their friendship, values their contributions. And you don't have to look honestly very far, very hard to see that bear out in the things that we're doing in the Indo-Pacific with Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines. Evidently, though, the Japanese counselors who were not very impressed with what Biden had said did not understand that Biden was intending to praise the U.S. and not speak badly of Japan or India or some of the other countries. 864-477-5639, 864-477-JOEY. Your texts are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line. Leave a quick voice message. Emails welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. As expected, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs signed legislation yesterday repealing the state's 1864 abortion ban one day after it passed the GOP-controlled state Senate. Details on that in just a minute. Portions of the Day Show brought to you by Firmin Ford if you're looking for a new vehicle, or maybe you need service that you can trust on your existing vehicle. Firmin Ford is the place to go. They do business the right way. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line. And Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin, they take that very seriously. When you go by the dealership, when you give them a call, or when you send them an email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin family. They'll help you navigate some of the great deals they have on their selection of pre-owned vehicles, their new vehicles. And what's even better, when you drive your new vehicle off the lot, you know that your money is staying right here in the community, supporting the communities that we all love. For an all-around better buying experience, visit my friends at Firmin Ford in Lawrence. Find them online at firminford.com. That's firminford.com. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs signed the legislation that will repeal the 1864 abortion ban. However, the repeal won't take effect until 90 days after the state legislature adjourns for the year, and there's no end date in sight yet. That means it's likely the 1864 law will still go into effect after the 90-day period is up, sometime probably in the fall. The state Supreme Court initially delayed enactment of the 1864 ban for 2 weeks, but due to separate judicial activity, the Civil War era law won't be fully enforceable until June 27th at the earliest. Governor Hobbs said, "While I'm proud to sign this bill and provide a moment of relief for Arizonans, we still have work to do. The level of chaos and confusion that will occur from multiple bans at different times, we know how terrible this ban will be, and we're going to do everything possible to make sure it doesn't go into effect." Arizona became the latest battleground state to grapple with abortion access when the state Supreme Court last month upheld the ban on nearly all abortions in the state, except in instances to save the life of the mother. The law also imposed jail time for physicians who perform abortions. The law, which was first passed before Arizona even became a state, was never repealed and remained on the books for decades. In April, the GOP-appointed Supreme Court ruled 4-2 that the ban can be enforced because Roe v. Wade had been overturned. Once the appeal is official, the state will revert to the 15-week ban signed into law by former Governor Doug Ducey in 2022. Like the 1864 ban, the 15-week law does not make any exceptions for rape or incest. Hobbs said yesterday that abortion is a bipartisan issue, not arguing the decision by some Republicans to help Democrats pass the repeal bill was political opportunism. Wednesday, 2 GOP state senators crossed party lines to give the Democrats the majority needed to pass the bill. Last week, 3 Republicans in the state house joined with Democrats to pass the bill. So you've got Republicans crossing over party lines to get this done. Some Republicans have recognized that backlash against the 1864 law could upend conservative majorities in the state, and they believe could hurt President Trump's campaign in what is considered a crucial swing state of Arizona. They also want to try to curtail the momentum behind a likely ballot measure that would constitutionally legalize abortion up to fetal viability with medical exceptions for women who are further along. Abortion rights advocates have been gathering signatures to place a referendum on the ballot in November that would protect access until the point of fetal viability, or what some say is roughly 24 weeks of pregnancy. In the interim, abortion rights advocates and the state attorney general, Chris Mays, who's a Democrat by the way, are trying to delay the ruling as much as possible. On Tuesday, the attorney general Mays filed a motion for the court to stay a final mandate for 90 days. Shortly after the state Senate voted Wednesday in favor of repealing the ban, Planned Parenthood of Arizona filed a motion with the state Supreme Court requesting that it stay its final order in the case until the repeal can be implemented. Are we going to be continuing to talk about abortion forever? Do we ever get this issue resolved? I mean, I'm glad that each state is tackling this issue state by state, as it should be. That it should be a state decision. But it seems like, and here in South Carolina, we have the fetal heartbeat bill. So once a heartbeat is detected here in South Carolina, then an abortion cannot take place. But there's still challenges outstanding out there. Our fetal heartbeat bill was passed 1 year. ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. The legislature changed the language, came back and passed it again last year, but there's still legal challenges every day. I read an article just recently, I think it was in the state newspaper, where a young 20-something-year-old lady talked about having to go to another state to get an abortion. She said that she had been taking birth control, been taking precautions, and was not ready, did not want to be pregnant. She found out she is pregnant. And she describes in this article of what she had to do to get an abortion, and she eventually did it in another state. I don't get it. I don't get the whole issue. 864-477-5639. Maybe you can help me out. And for those, there's a lot of people who think that we just need to stop talking about it. There's a lot of people believe that Republican candidates, that it's a death wish if they talk about this going into November. Is it? Is it a death wish? Some of you have texted me and emailed me that this is an issue that candidates should not be tackling. Love to hear from you on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-5639. Jeff writes on the text line, what is scary to me is that these kids are going to be running our country in a few years, but yet they're protesting to help terrorists. They should send in the National Guard to clear all these campuses. This, of course, in response to what we have witnessed this week on campuses around the country, where these kids are literally closing down campus, closing down classrooms, closing down administrative buildings, getting graduation ceremonies canceled. Sherry writes, Joey, these kids, people I see on TV appear to be Palestinian people. Why doesn't the news media point that out, and why don't they get deported? If they are American citizens, they should be locked up and held until they have a trial and they're sentenced for their charges. One more thing. I keep receiving texts from politicians and some ask for money. I don't know if they're really from conservatives or not and would not donate through a text. Maybe you could mention this to your listeners. I've been informed that my phone number is in the dark web. Happy you and Mike Gallagher are going to be back on the radio, but since I'm retired, the 5 a.m. is a little early for me, so I'll keep listening to your podcast. Laugh out loud. Have a great day praying for our country. And that's the key there, Sherry. Pray for our country. And yes, we announced this week that Mike Gallagher will be back on the radio in the area, 10 a.m. to 12 noon on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. I, too, will be joining Mike for a segment every day around 10:30 or so. Also, I'll be waking everyone up from 5 to 6 a.m. So if you're like Sherry and it's a little too early, don't worry, because Just the Truth will be there waiting for you as well. So don't panic. Faye writes, hey, Joey, it is a conscious of opinion that you and Mike need more time on 98.9. But we're thankful you two will be on the radio. We need your voices for the next 6 months to save our country. Every day the Biden regime has another law to control us. Right now we will die of heat stroke due to lack of power, or we're going to starve to death. I hope knuckleheads will see the writing on the wall and vote as life depends on it. Thank you, Faye. Appreciate your comment. Thank you for those kind words. Yes, Mike and I both are excited to be back on the radio. Susan says someone needs to tell Governor Noem that when she's already put her foot in her mouth, she shouldn't go on Sean Hannity's show and shove it in even deeper. What a drama queen. Cricket was the dog, didn't massacre chickens. He killed 2 or 3 chickens belonging to a neighbor and ate one. That's Kristi Noem's fault for not confining the dog to her own property, and maybe she wasn't feeding it enough. As for the dog biting people, according to what she wrote in her book, it only bit her. From what I've been learning about her recently, I'm not so sure I can blame it. Oh boy, that still, I gotta believe that there's something that she could have done with that dog rather than putting it down. Texter says, yesterday morning, Biden finally half-heartedly condemned the violence on college campuses after Trump beat him to the punch on Wednesday. Look, Joe Biden's not going to condemn that. Joe Biden doesn't see anything wrong with it. He thinks that students interrupting classes, students closing down campuses, that it's okay. I mean, look, he didn't believe there's anything wrong with the Black Lives Matters protest that literally caused billions of dollars of damage, with buildings being burned, buildings being ransacked by a bunch of thugs out on the street. He didn't see anything wrong with that then. He certainly doesn't see anything wrong with a bunch of Ivy League college students camping in tents out on the lawn, interrupting graduation ceremonies and what should be a very special time as some of these seniors are ending their college career, and it's just ruined it. Richard writes, "Hey Joey, this is your Gamecock friend from Georgia. Are you also going to be on 98.9? Please tell me yes. I'm very excited." Yes, Richard, I will be. I'll be joining my buddy Mike Gallagher. There'll be a couple of options. You can tune in 5 to 6, and if that's too early, like it was, like Sherry was saying earlier, you can also listen to the podcast. We'll continue with Just the Truth. You can listen to it anytime you choose to. Then around 10:30 or so every morning, I'll be joining the Mike Gallagher Show for a regular segment there. And I'm also going to be doing some long-form interviews where I'll spend a little more time with people than we typically do during the week. And those interviews will be aired in what we're calling Word on the Street, which will be aired Saturday at 12 noon. So going to be multiple opportunities there. Richard at Caesar's Head says, "Hi, Joey. Glad you and Mike are back on WORD, but 5 a.m.? Yikes." I get it, Richard. It is early. Again, Just the Truth. The podcast is around, and you can listen at wherever you have been accustomed to listening to Just the Truth. It'll be added to the Odyssey podcast platform as well. So lots of options there. Our text of encouragement today: make space in your life for the things that matter, for family and friends, love and generosity, fun and joy. Without this, you will burn out in mid-career and wonder where your life went. That's from Joel. He always sends us a text of encouragement. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate that. Your texts are welcome as well. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your text to the Firmin Ford text line. You can also leave a voice message. Your emails are welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Tesla has reportedly reneged on some summer internship offers that it's made to college students. Multiple students have described their situations in some posts on their LinkedIn profiles this week. Bloomberg was the first to report the news on Wednesday. One of the students identified by the outlet said that Tesla informed her on Monday of this week via a phone call that she no longer had a summer internship, a development she linked to the workforce and cost reduction efforts that Tesla recently announced. Tesla said in mid-April that it would shed 10% of its 140,000-plus person headcount. Roughly 6,000 of those layoffs are hitting workers in Texas and California. More recently, the EV maker indicated that more workers, including much of the supercharger team, would be laid off in addition to the initial eliminations. The information reported that more layoffs are coming. Another college student said Wednesday that his offer also got pulled with very little notice, according to Bloomberg. In a LinkedIn post, he reported that prior to Tesla backtracking on its offer, he had already locked down housing for the internship with the EV maker that he had expected to begin in just 3 weeks after the end of school. Tesla reported internship offer withdrawals came as the academic year is winding down. Many universities, many students are gearing up to soon join companies as summer interns. That's something that gives you you can make a little money in the summer, plus it gives you some great experience. The Elon Musk run EV maker typically brings on board students in the spring, summer, and fall, according to the company. They typically have 6,000 student interns working for Tesla, this according to the company's most recent annual report. Tesla, which has experienced some turbulence in recent weeks, said that its planned headcount reductions will, quote, prepare Tesla for our next phase of growth as we're developing some of the most revolutionary technologies in auto, energy, and artificial intelligence, when it disclosed them in a mid-April filing to the Securities and Exchange Commission. The company has multiple projects in the pipeline, including new and lower-cost vehicles and a robo-taxi. By the way, I saw one of the new Tesla trucks yesterday on Pelham Road at 14 near my home in Greer. Have you seen one of those? First off, I don't know why you call it a truck. The Tesla Cybertruck, it's a battery electric medium duty full size pickup according to the company. But a pickup truck to me has a bed in the back where you can haul something. The one I saw out on the road yesterday, and then I kind of looked it up on the web. It doesn't look anything like a pickup truck. It looks like some type of futuristic stainless steel pot with four wheels on it. The company introduced this as a concept vehicle back in November of 2019. It's sort of a triangular body, and it has just flat sheets of stainless steel panels. I mean, I couldn't even tell where the headlights were, and I'm sure it has some, but it has this big sheet of stainless steel across the front, and it's just sort of boxy. I don't get it. And again, I don't know why they call it a pickup truck, because it didn't have a bed on it. Don't all pickup trucks need beds on them? 864-477-JOEY. Can you have a vehicle and call it a pickup truck if it doesn't have a bed? Love to get your comments on that. South Carolina lawmakers took a major step towards becoming the 25th state to ban gender transition health care for minors after the state Senate approved a House bill to do so. Got the details on that in just a moment. Portions of today's show made possible by my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're upgrading the entire kitchen, you're right in the middle of remodeling the kitchen and you need appliances and you need them quickly, a Discounted Appliance Warehouse is where you need to go. They have 11,000 square feet with about 1,500 appliances ready for you. Quite often, you can buy today and use it today. That's just how they do business at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they have their expert installation, their award-winning service department. They have extended warranties. They don't once you become a Discounted Appliance Warehouse customer, you're like part of the family. You're more than just a credit card swipe. And they treat you like that. I know firsthand. I've been dealing with them for years now, and they always take good care of you. Before the sale, during the sale, and after the sale. They're also very proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with the manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor for up to 7 years. Check them out. It's worth the short drive to Pickens and online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. So after a lengthy debate on Thursday, as the South Carolina legislature is trying to wrap things up for this session, Senate Republicans narrowly broke a Democrat filibuster. Then they passed this bill that is that would make South Carolina the 25th state to ban gender transition health care for minors on this 28-8 vote. Supporters of the ban, which has become a major rallying cry, said that children should not be making decisions about medically transitioning until they're adults, and cast doubt about the safety of gender transition procedures. And this is right. I mean, what child can make a decision like that? And how many stories have we read and heard about recently of transgenders who are now in their mid to late 20s and 30s, and they say they wish that their parents had stopped them? Senator Richard Cash, he's from Powdersville, Republican, who's been one of the driving forces behind the bill, said male and female, he created them, talking about, of course, that God created us, and it's very clear. There's no ambiguity here. He said it's rooted in creation. It's rooted in the Creator, and those that oppose that are in some sense opposing the nature of creation itself. Opponents said that drugs that pause puberty are safe and are only prescribed after significant deliberation. Decisions about whether to prescribe them should be left to parents and doctors, they said. Senate Minority Leader Brad Hutto, he's a Democrat from Orangeburg, told reporters after the vote, let the children be who they are. The whole bill was a bad bill. I think it was an attack on children, an attack on parents, an attack on doctors. The bill heads back to the House as the Senate made several changes to the legislation. So the lower chamber will have to consider the changes. They passed it back in January, 82-23. Now, they're running out of time because we're literally headed into the last week of the session. The bill as it stands would ban doctors from providing gender transition care, including puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and gender reassignment surgery for minors, period. Parents would not be allowed to give doctors permission to prescribe these drugs and to do these types of surgeries. Doctors in South Carolina, we're told, do not currently perform gender reassignment surgery on minors, but we got to make sure they don't start. The measure would exempt the use of puberty blockers for those with sexual development disorders and their use to prevent imminent death or serious injury. Maybe we can get Representative John McCravey on next week to talk about the chances of this passing in the House in the final days of the session. You know, it gets pretty hectic in Columbia in these final days as they're trying to wrap things up, and this is the end of the session. So if it doesn't pass now, then it's dead. It'll have to be reintroduced when the next session starts after November's elections. So maybe Representative McCravey from Greenwood will join us on Monday or so, and we'll talk with him about the details and just get an idea of what the likelihood of this getting final approval, making these changes that the Senate made, whether or not the House can get those through and send it to the governor's desk for to be signed. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Hey, I appreciate you joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list, please do so. Just go to joeyhudson.com, click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails with the most up-to-date news. Also find me on YouTube and other social media sites, Facebook, Instagram. Just search for Joey Hudson on those, and be sure and like, follow me, comment on things that we have there. And hey, I appreciate you just spending time with me. Be sure and forward today's edition of Just the Truth to friends and family. We need to build our community as we head into the June primaries and especially the November general election. We got to build an army of like-minded conservatives, and we can do that if you will tell your friends and neighbors and friends at church about Just the Truth as we build this audience. And the way we beat Joe Biden and the way we beat the lunacy of the left is by educating people, and that's what we do here on Just the Truth. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails are welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. We're back again tomorrow. I hope you'll plan to be with us. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.